Well, 2 weeks ago in our series, Hope Has a Name, we looked at one of the names that's given of Jesus in the Old Testament, the mighty God. And I asked people in the congregation if they had experienced the power of God in a way that they'd be willing to share with the rest of us, how they'd seen Jesus as the mighty God. And Amy Chenoweth responded, sent me an email. And Amy, I know you grew up in a Christian home, going to church. You lived in a nice neighborhood with your parents and really had a good experience growing up. But in middle school, there was a problem that began to develop in your life. Can you share with us a little bit about the issue that really came to control your life?
Yeah, in middle school, I realized at an early age the impact of appearance and the impact of size and weight. I was not overweight, but I was bigger than some of my friends. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that in going shopping, and having to get the bigger size clothes. And immediately I felt this need to be thin because I saw all the attention my peers were getting. I went on a simple diet, and that soon turned into an addiction with food, which gradually became a 9-year eating disorder with bulimia.
So over the course of that 9 years, I'm sure your parents tried to help you. Tell me a little bit about the kinds of resources that they tried to provide, counselors and treatment programs and that kind of thing.
And in middle school, I think I went to my first counselor, and I was kind of the patient that would go one time and then be done with it. So I've been through a lot. I've tried probably 7 different counselors. I've been to Christian counselors. I've been to psychiatrists, doctors, and nobody could give me a reason.
Well, and God got your attention, you mentioned to me.
Yes.
It got to the point where you were really making a choice between life and death.
Yeah. This was, this would have been in the 9th year that I'd struggled with it. I'd been through college. I'd been out of college, a year and a half actually, came to St. Louis. And I just remember crying one night, and I'd been through an intense binge purge episode, and my heart started beating so fast, and I couldn't catch my breath. And I'd been having a lot of hallucinations lately because my mind, everything, when you're doing that 5 times a day, every single day for the past 9 years, it's going to take a toll on your body. And I just started blacking out, and that night I felt like I was dying. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, my disorder is finally getting, it's taking my life away. And I remember thinking, I've never got to do anything I wanted to do. And I heard in the midst of everything, the only thing I heard was pray. And I had never heard that before, and it wasn't me to just come up with that. And immediately I got down on my knees and I prayed. I think I laid on the floor for probably 2 hours and just cried and sobbed to God and prayed like I'd never prayed before.
And God did bring along the help that you cried out for.
Oh.
And it came in the form of a ministry here in St. Louis that you were involved in. What happened there that made the difference for you in understanding the power of God?
It's Mercy Ministries, and they're all over the world, but there is one here in St. Louis, which is funny how God works in a life and bring me to St. Louis. So it was actually like in the back of my parents' backyard, basically, in Fenton, Missouri. And I went, and I can tell you that Mercy completely changed my life, and it was God kind of changing everything that I thought about faith and about Jesus, and saying that you can have this relationship, and I can get into why you're doing what you're doing. And that hurt from middle school. It's a long process. It was just the beginning of a process. I remember reading for the first time Jeremiah 29:11, which everybody knows, but I had never read it before. And I remember reading it, and it was the first time that I found hope. I remember it being like, oh my gosh, God does care, and Jesus does care. So we learned about scriptures that that would replace your thinking.
So it was really learning how to walk with the Lord that set you free.
Yeah.
And His power that enabled you to overcome what no one else really could help you overcome.
Yeah, I did not turn out how I would have ever expected it, to turn out. But it's turned out better than that, and shows that He does have a will for your life.